one of the relationships that you developed over many, many, many years was one with Hockey Canada, and I know you dealt with them a lot. You have clients of yours, sponsors of yours, who have been involved with Hockey Canada for a long, long period of time. Give me your general sense, first of all, as to what has happened with this organization over the past year or so.
Well, what has happened is, in terms of the organization, is tragic. That they have been put into a position where they probably mishandled a situation that had been brewing for quite some time. I sat on the foundation, the Hockey Canada Foundation board, for a good 10 years. Hockey Canada is probably one of the best run NSOs in terms of financial profitability. They were the first ones to go out there and, guarantee the IIHF funds to then take the World Juniors. Along with TSN, they built the World Juniors into a financial juggernaut. They, at the same time, were the governing body for hockey across this country. They developed, both our men and women's national teams to be medal winners at every level. They brought on more sponsors than any other organization. They had more employees than any other NSO as well. In the last year, the public trust in that brand, and by the way, that brand, what it stood for, the actual visible logo, and Hockey Canada brand was like the good housekeeping seal of approval. That trust and that recognition and profile of that brand is tarnished. It is tarnished for a long time, and it's going to be very difficult to come back. And I know a lot of the people that had been running and continue to run to this day, people within the organization. They were all good people, ethical people that are friends of mine. To see this situation occur and to have the blame fall on either one or two or three individuals is a sad situation.
It's heartbreaking. There's no question. But it's funny. I saw an interview in Edmonton the other day with Sheldon Kennedy, and Kennedy's talked about it's time to look forward. It's time to, regain the trust and create better transparency. How do you? I mean, in your world, Brian, with the people that how do you regain that trust?
Well, one, through transparency. Two, using independent sources to put the people in charge. I mean, you really have to clean house within the organization. And we've seen this with other brands, whether it was the Tylenol brand years ago when they were in a scandal that, the pills had been compromised. You have to make whatever it was the McCain family that had the same thing. You have to really start from anew. And, transparency will gain trust, and constant communication will gain trust. But it's going to take a long time. And look, finally, they've done the right thing. The board of directors on these NSOs should be made up of people that are adding, value to the board, that have subject matter expertise. Either, you need someone that has legal background, someone that's got finance, someone that's got marketing, someone's got risk. And I don't think that board was constituted as it was had that. And now they're going to have to, find someone on an interim basis that is beyond reproach to suggest here's who's going to be on the board. I threw the name out, David Johnston, who's the former governor general. Yeah. He's a hockey person. He is, had a lot of experience and has the trust of Canadians. Let him go in his chair and then have him choose who is going to be on this interim board, and then bring in executives, have that board bring in the executives on an interim basis as well. But it starts with, trust. and transparency. And those are the type of individuals that you're going to get. And then, by the way, you have to be passionate about hockey. You have to understand it, but you don't have to be a hockey person to
Right.
be on those boards.
Right. I see the other name. We talked about this last week after Scott resigned. I threw the name out, Frank McKenna, similar
Similar.
type of trust.
Yeah.
But you also you need somebody that understands governance now.
Yeah.
It's more about governance and less about hockey, right?
Well, I got to tell you, to that point, as this was going on, and I'm chairman of the board of Canada Basketball. I went to our team and said, let's make sure that the governance that we understand the guardrails of governance and the duties we have as directors, that we don't get into the operational end, because there's a fine line between operational and governance, John.
Right.
And so, I wanted to make sure that all of our directors, and I'm approaching them with a new 2-pager that says, this is what we are here for, this is our mandate, and this is what we need to be doing.
So in some ways, ironically, the Hockey Canada situation could wind up helping you guys.
Well, you know what? Look, we have a very good board, and we have a very diverse group of individuals, both race, gender, geographic location, as well as subject matter expertise. When I came in to take this chair about a year and a half ago, I actually changed 8 board positions, Bob. In many cases, a lot of people go on these NSOs. They love being on it because it's a bit of a profile, and it's something to talk about at your Saturday night cocktail party. But they don't take it as serious as it should be taken.
Well, actually, so you bring up a really good point, because as you were talking about that, and you and I, Brian, have seen this, Bob has seen this as well. When you get boards involved in high profile, fun things like hockey and like basketball, they may be experts in their own field, whether it's banking or whether it's a law firm or whether it's the communications industry. But then they think they're a hockey person.
Yeah.
And then they think they're a basketball person.
Yeah.
And then they meddle. And it becomes they're hired or they're brought on, because they're not hired, as basically a volunteer with a small honorarium, I assume. What happens is they start to think that they're right in the middle of the decision-making process on the operational side.
Right. And John, that's the guardrails I was talking about.
Yeah.
That, we have operational expertise. You can add value by your subject matter expertise, law, finance, or whatever, but the network of people that you have. And by the way, most of these situations, these board positions for NSOs, they're not paid. They're not even getting an honorarium.
No,
They are getting tickets to a game. They are getting, some VIK that they may have, or dinner, but no one's getting paid.
Yeah. VIK, for anybody who isn't in the business, is value in kind.